Hi, Sharon Danley, survivor advocate with the Survivors of Medical Abuse and the Disabled Women's Network. This is my video call to Premier Kathleen Wynne to release the Sexual Abuse Task Force report that was presented to the Ontario government by the co-chair in July 2015. It was promised to be released in December, then promised again in February, and to date, nothing is being done, nothing has been released, and my last attempts to get the government to give us a ballpark even have been ignored. The last few statements that they have made to me is that it's being finished. Well, how can it be finished when in fact it was delivered in July? This is the third task force report that's been commissioned in 25 years. Very, very little is implemented with the recommendations. And when those are done, the powers that be at all the health regulated colleges, but especially the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Ontario, find loopholes to make it simpler and easier to continue protecting offending healthcare workers. When the Ghomeshi allegations first came forward in the press, the Wynne government proposed a "it's never okay" action plan. Well, it would seem that it is still okay, because nothing is being done with respect to any kind of change, let alone major changes, with respect to truly dealing with sexual abuse from a systemic perspective. It's a two-pronged problem. One, the courts. We need to have full parties standing for complainants so they are equal before the law. That's number one. Number two, all, and I do mean all, self-governing, regulated bodies need to have the component, the criminal code component of sexual abuse removed from their adjudication process. Anything less is just not acceptable. We have a rise in sexual abuse, a rise in sex trafficking. It has become a pandemic. And when the government ignores on a consistent basis calls from advocates, especially people like myself who have been on the ground for decades, to be ignored by the very people who I pay taxes to, says an awful lot about what their real agenda is. And that is, it appears, to continue protecting the perpetrators while victims continue to be re-traumatized, both in the courts and the secondary tribunals in self-governing bodies. I'm asking you again, Premier Wynne, release the task force report, release it to the public, and release it now. As a deputant to the most recent one, as well as the former two, I have a right, and I expect that right honored as both a taxpayer, a survivor, and an advocate, and a deputant. Release the report and do it now.